Hello. In this short video, I wanted to go through what has been included in the latest release of Chocolatey Agent, which is 1.1.0. So let's go ahead and jump in. Now, there's not a lot that I can necessarily demo in this release, but I did want to still walk through what was included just to provide some additional context as to what was done and why. So looking at the release notes for 1.1.0, if we scroll down here, we'll see that the first feature that was added was the ability to add scheduled automatic log cleaning for Chocolatey and Chocolatey Agent rollover log files. So what this is referring to is that by default, almost all of the Chocolatey log files for all the different Chocolatey components live in a single folder. That is the C program data Chocolatey logs folder. And what happens is as that log gets filled up, what will happen is that it will create a .log .1 file and a .log .2 file, a .log .3 file, etc. And it will continue rolling over that log file, and it will keep those files there. So what we heard from some folks, some of our customers, that they wanted the ability to automatically delete those files after a period of time has elapsed. So what's been released in this version of Agent is every 30 days, or more specifically, periodically, Chocolatey Agent will check to see if there are log files that haven't been updated in over 30 days, and it will start to purge those log files from that folder. So it's basically cleaning up that log file folder and keeping it so that there's only 30 days worth of logs in that folder. Now, the other thing I should mention is that that is enabled by default, and the ability to control that rolling over of the log file, either to turn it on and off completely, and also to change that retention period. The ability to configure that is coming with the release of the next version of the Chocolatey license extension. But for now, it's enabled by default, and it's 30 days retention period that's in play there. But you will be able to configure it after the next release of Chocolatey license extension. In terms of improvements, there's one specific addition for Chocolatey Central Management, which was to add retry logic for running deployments acquired from the Chocolatey Central Management service. What this is referring to is it was possible that having created a deployment in Chocolatey Central Management, endpoint, a client machine might have picked up that deployment and it may have started that process. But for whatever reason, whether that was an error or whether that was someone maybe coming off the VPN that connects them to the corporate network, or whether someone restarted the machine, it's entirely possible that that deployment didn't complete successfully and it didn't get an opportunity to report back into Chocolatey Central Management. So what will happen now is that once a deployment has been picked up by a client machine, it will basically always report back in once the deployment has completed. So imagine the scenario that a deployment has been picked up, it started doing the deployment step, and then the machine gets restarted. What will happen is that when that machine restarts, and then when the Chocolatey Agent comes back up, it will notice that there was an unfinished deployment, and it will continue on with that step and then report back in. So it will basically always get to the point where it has completed the task that it was given. Okay, so that's what the retry logic was referring to there. The second improvement is to recheck the license on a schedule and shut it down if it's been found to be invalid. Now, in previous versions of Chocolatey Agent, what would happen was whenever the Chocolatey Agent service was started, it would assert that the license was valid, and if it wasn't, then the Chocolatey Agent service wouldn't start up. Now, what could have happened though is that there's the potential that the license would expire, and the Chocolatey Agent would continue running with no visibility that there was actually a problem that the license has expired. So what we felt was it's better for the license to become, as soon as that license has become invalid, for the Chocolatey Agent service to shut down. The thought process there was quite simple, is that if at some point during scheduled maintenance you do a restart of the Chocolatey Agent because you need to, or you need to shut down a machine, you don't want to have to then worry about the license being invalid at that point when you're doing some actual work. Better for the invalidation of that license to be as close to the actual event as possible so that it can happen and you can do something about it rather than having to worry about it when you're trying to do something else. So that was the thought process there. So that has been released in this version of the Chocolatey Agent. And the final one there is a bug fix around exception handling for all tasks and specifically logging that there's been a problem. So what we found was that there was a small edge case where if something happened, it would one, it would fail to log the exception into the log message, into log file, sorry, which is obviously not ideal. And then in another scenario, it wouldn't continue with the task that it was meant to be doing. So it was an edge case. It wasn't something what we saw happen a lot, but we had seen it enough that we wanted to verify that we weren't going to have that situation again. We spent a bit of time on that, and what we've got now is complete logging of that situation when it occurs, and also continuation of the work that's meant to be happening. So the exception being thrown is no longer stopping that task from being complete. So that's it. Hopefully that's been of some use. Like I say, it's not exactly easy to demo some of those features and improvements there, but hopefully this kind of guided walkthrough of what it was helpful. If you've got any comments or questions, then definitely feel free to reach out. Thank you very much.